You ever wonder what it would really take to build a whole new world from scratch? Well, today we're going to dive into the incredible story of one man who did just that. He left everything behind to create a completely self-sustaining floating home deep in the remote wilderness.
And let's be clear, the stakes here were unbelievably high. I mean, this was not just some weekend camping trip. This was a full year-long test of endurance, of pure ingenuity, and just sheer will against everything nature could throw at him. And the craziest part? No supply lines, no backup plan. None.
So, our story kicks off in the super isolated, rainy forests of Vietnam. And the goal, wow, it was monumental. We're not just talking about building a little shelter. No, he set out to construct an entire, self-sufficient ecosystem, floating on a lake, and here's the kicker, using only what he could find right there.
And get this, he's working under some pretty extreme limitations. I mean, no power tools, no screws, not even a box of nails. Just these three basic hand tools. That's it. So keeping them sharp and in perfect condition, that wasn't just good practice, it was literally a matter of survival.
So, okay, where do you even start with a project this huge? Well, you start with the foundation, right? The cornerstone of his entire world was going to be bamboo. It's strong, it floats, and luckily it's everywhere. But the most crucial decision he had to make was where to build, and his choice? The water.
And that choice? It was absolutely brilliant. See, as the rainy season starts to roll in, all sorts of animals, we're talking pythons, are looking for dry ground. A shelter on land, that's basically an open invitation. But a floating raft, well, that becomes your own personal fortress.
But this brings us to a really fascinating engineering problem. Okay, so bamboo's strong and it floats, perfect. But it's also hollow. So think about it. How in the world do you create a flat, solid floor out of a bunch of round, hollow tubes?
The solution he came up with is it's pure genius. By making these super precise cuts all the way down the length of the bamboo, he could carefully unroll the cylinder. Just like that, he transformed a hollow tube into a flat, incredibly durable floorboard. He literally made his own lumber from something you'd think was totally useless for flooring.
And the level of craftsmanship here is it's next level. Remember, no nails, no screws. So he had to rely on old-school traditional joinery. We're talking about carving these interlocking mortise and tenon joints. It's this ancient technique that creates an unbelievably strong and rigid frame, and it's all held together by nothing more than perfect cuts and friction. Incredible.
Okay, so once he has the basic shelter up, you can feel the whole story start to shift. It's no longer just about that initial desperate scramble for survival. Now, it evolves into a really deliberate plan for long-term sustainable living.
And you can see that change so clearly in his food strategy. At first, he's just foraging for clams by hand, barely getting enough to survive. But then he quickly levels up. He crafts his own spear gun, he builds traps, and he plants the very first seeds of a garden right there on the raft. He's making that critical shift from just finding food to actually producing it. Now, as his ambitions get bigger, he runs into a new problem: transportation. Trying to move these huge, heavy loads of bamboo or even just explore the lake, it was becoming almost impossible. So what's his solution? He builds a simple but super effective pedal-powered boat. Yep, another amazing creation born completely out of necessity.
Okay, and this is the point where the project goes from just impressive to truly extraordinary. Because he stops just building individual things. Now he starts engineering an entire ecosystem. A system where every single part supports all the others in this beautiful, self-sustaining cycle. Just look at how all these pieces work together. He's got a central fish farm for a steady supply of protein. He's got chickens he captured from the wild for eggs, a vertical pergola to get the most garden space possible, and then his most ambitious project of all, a floating rice paddy. And to top it all off, he gets a wild beehive to pollinate his crops. It's a perfect closed loop. This right here just shows how he started thinking about efficiency. The lift net, what a game changer. It's a totally passive system. He uses a light to attract fish to the net overnight, and then in the morning, a simple pulley system lets him just lift the whole thing up, trapping a huge catch with almost zero effort. The man is literally fishing in his sleep.
And this is a massive milestone. He's eating his first complete meal, fish from his own lift net, with loofah and chilies from vines growing right there on his raft. This is so much more than just dinner.
This is proof of concept. This is the moment he achieves true self-sufficiency.
So, with survival pretty much guaranteed at this point, the final phase of his journey begins. The focus isn't on frantic building anymore. Now, it's all about patient refinement. It's about perfecting his home, his tools, and, his overall quality of life. And honestly, nothing shows this newfound patience better than the rice harvest. I mean, this was not a quick project. We're talking about a 4-month-long process, from planting the very first seeds in his floating paddy all the way to finally harvesting and processing the grain.
But just growing the rice, that was only half the battle. To actually eat it, he had to invent a whole new set of tools from scratch. Problem: the rice hulls are too tough. Solution: he engineers a foot-powered trip hammer. Problem: separating the grain from the husks. Solution: he weaves a bamboo winnowing tray. Every single problem demanded a brand new invention.
Now, maybe his most dangerous task of all was taming a wild bee colony. Talk about high risk, but the reward was just immense. He carefully built a modern-style hive. He found and transferred the queen bee, and the rest of the colony followed. With that one move, he not only got a source of honey, but he secured the pollination and the future of all his gardens.
And just think about it, all of this, going from a bare patch of water to a thriving, floating homestead, he did it all in just 12 months, 1 year. That's it.
So, what's the final result after 1 year of this relentless work? Well, he basically reimagined what a home could even be. He didn't just build a world on the water, he built one that was in perfect harmony with it.
I mean, when you look back, the list of his innovations is just staggering. A beautiful hand-carved canoe eventually replaced that first pedal boat. The trip hammer that solved the rice problem, an advanced clay stove, that incredible lift net system, the floating rice paddy, the domesticated beehive. Every single one is a testament to his incredible skill.
In the end, I think his journey really shows us something important. True self-sufficiency isn't about conquering nature or trying to dominate it. It's about deep observation, it's about clever engineering, and ultimately, it's about finding your place as a part of the natural system.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, right? After watching this incredible journey, this active creation from literally nothing, it really makes you wonder, in our own lives, what's just one skill we could learn that would make us even a little bit more self-sufficient?